And
What?
how was your experience with Americans, bro?
Entertaining. Americans get a bad rap all the time. Americans are funnier. Americans have so much better vibes. But British people have better satire, more culture in their cities.
You said better satire, but like that's just so British to like
Yeah,
be rude.
sarcasm.
We think you're being mean.
That's the point. We're polite in the sense that instead of calling you a weirdo, we'll say you're interesting.
And what's the biggest thing you miss from living in Boston?
Ooh, the burgers.
American food versus British food. What's better and why?
New York, 10 times better of a food city than London ever will be. London food scene, it's overrated and it's overhyped. It's all about hype and it's not about delivery and substance.
It goes viral on TikTok. You'll see a queue out the line.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to this channel. It's your brother Wise. I appreciate you guys pulling up. We got to talk about it, man, because we have a lot of people in our country that seem to not like America. But we have people from the UK who are over in Europe, and there's been plenty of other. I'm sure I could find some other videos of people coming from other countries as well that really appreciate our nation. And we got to get into it. We got to talk about it. But before we do so, we have entirely too many entitled and ungrateful people who live in our country, right? And a lot of it has to do with the fact that they don't know any better. We've talked about this on the show, you know, a multitude of times. The average American lives within about a 10-mile radius of where they grew up at. Most have never left the state that they grew up in, and a larger majority of people have never left the country. So they really don't have anything to compare things to. And the Sister Celeste on Friday said, when you comparing America, most Americans compare America to perfection because you can't compare it to any other nation in the world. You just can't. It's the best country in the world, flaws and all. I'm not saying that we're perfect. I'm not saying that we're without flaws. But what I am saying is that we're better than everywhere else. Hit that like button, share this video, subscribe to the channel. Let's keep going.
I can hands down say that the United States of America is the best country I've ever visited in my life. And it's honestly where I can see myself living. I want to move there. I want to move there right now. So I just returned from a 6-week trip around California, Oregon and Washington State. Completed it with James, my boyfriend, in an RV, Cruise America RV, and it was life-changing. The things that I saw, the foods that I tasted, the people that I met.
Now imagine what they would think if they went south. If they thought they had some good food out on the West Coast, the left coast, the crazy coast. Imagine what would happen if they flew into Texas and went from Texas to Florida. You get that Texas barbecue, you get that Louisiana cuisine. Just keep on riding through the South. The best food in the country, in my opinion, hands down, it's not even close. It's the Southeast to the Southwest. You choose the state, choose what type of food you want. You can't go wrong. Let's just keep it a buck.
Best thing to ever happened to me. And I wish I grew up there because I can imagine that kids get a very good upbringing there. We previously rented a Cruise America RV back in March. We did Arizona and Utah and a tiny bit of Nevada, and honestly we had such a good time. We were only there for 2 weeks. We came back like a month later or 2 months later because we couldn't get enough of the US. We loved it so much that we had to come back. I'm very privileged that my mum took me traveling when I was younger, but I can honestly say that the US was by far the most special, diverse, everything there, the people, the food, the lifestyle, the landscapes, the weather. It's everything about the US is honestly a dream come true. It was just the best trip of my life, and James and I are going to be coming back very, very soon.
The US is great, man. As someone that served in the United States military, served in the Navy, I've had a chance to travel to a multitude of countries. I've been in, Europe and Asia. I haven't had an opportunity to go to the continent of Africa, and I haven't been to East Asia, but I've been a lot of places. And yeah, there's no comparison, man. Seriously, there is no comparison.
Hey, look how mental this is, yeah, in Texas at the minute, in Austin, America. Look at all this, yeah. Absolutely mental. You do not get this type of shit in England, honestly. Anywhere but England is better. Just look at this. Just a random Saturday afternoon, everyone's chilling by late, having a good time. Honestly, get out of England, worst place.
Yeah, everybody's just chilling. He's out in Texas. Looks like he's probably on a lake. Maybe he's, close to the beach. Who knows? But yeah, it's really chill out here, man. Here goes one of those ungrateful Americans out there that hates living in America and they want to get up out of here. While you have people from other nations that are like, oh man, this place is great in comparison to where we live.
Honestly, at this point, I don't even want to get rich to even be rich and live luxurious. I literally want to get rich so I can get out this country.
You don't need to be rich to leave the nation, ma'am.
Cannot stand it here anymore. Everything about this country makes my stomach bubble the fuck up, especially the economy. I'm sick of it for everybody, but I'm really sick of it for myself too, because like I'm just sick of.
That's a lot of problem with so many Americans, man. They're just greedy, self-centered, selfish individuals. She wants to get rich so she can leave the nation. Do you not understand that being in our country, you are considered rich in most places around the world, and a fraction, you know what I'm saying, of what of what you earn here will do you justice, and you will be able to live a fairly good life in, some of the other nations, but you're going to miss out on some of the benefits, out here.
Everything is not being affordable. I'm sick of this rat race shit. Like, I don't even get about the American dream. Fuck American dream. Like, I would like it, yeah, but honestly, it don't even sound that appealing when you think about it, because it's like, damn, you could buy a big ass house and it's like, it's still not even yours. Whoever can take it back if you don't pay your property taxes, and you still got to do this and do, like, it's just like, is anything ever really what it is? Like, do we just keep working for shit and you just never get there? Like,
there's certain nations that you can visit. There's certain nations that you can move to, but they won't let you buy anything. You'll be renting in perpetuity. What is this lady talking about? This is a person that's probably never left the 10-mile radius of where she grew up at.
I'm confused. Like, even when you talk to people that's doctors and lawyers and shit, they're stressed out and financially not in a place either, and it makes no sense to me. Like, what are we doing? Like, honestly, all this shit is a lie, and that's the reason I really want to.
It's not really a lie. I think a lot of our problem here in America as Americans, we love debt. Unfortunately, and a lot of us, man, not only do we, or a good amount of us live above our means, but a lot of us, if you're not living above your means, you're living to the full max of everything that you bring in. Life is so much more stress less if you decide to live well below your means. Stack a little bit of bread, have everything that you need to be able to survive. You don't need a super big house. You don't need to buy a new car and have a car note every time you pay your one car off. You don't have to do those things. But unfortunately, here in America, you have a lot of people that are fiscally irresponsible, and they end up sounding like this lady, a very jaded individual, opposed to someone who, is spoiled as, any, human in the history of mankind could be, because that's kind of what it is, when you live in our country. We have a lot of spoiled individuals who are fiscally irresponsible.
I want to live abroad because I'm tired of idealizing my life based off American standards. I want to go to another country where they're not worried about who got the flyest shoes, who got the nicest car, who got the biggest house, and I don't want none of that. I want to live in the jungle. I want to wake up and eat my fruit and pet my pet monkey every day, and I have to sit here.
She a lie and a half. She might deal with that for a little bit, but eventually she'll be like, man, I got to get my behind right back to America. And there are places here in our country where you don't have to worry about the flyest shoes or the biggest house or the nicest car. You ain't got to worry about that. There are places right here in the country that don't nobody care. And to be honest with you, most places in the country don't care. Even in the places that are quote unquote superficial, you buy that car, people hating on you. People might look at it and be like, oh, you know something. But other than that, don't even matter. Doesn't matter much. And that's a lot of the problem, here in America, is that we have too many people trying to live for others. They're purchasing things to show out for people that don't actually care that they have these things. And now you're in debt up the wazoo and you're stressed out and you didn't even need to be there. I'm a big believer, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I've been married for a long time. My wife got with me. I was in a bucket. And when I say a bucket, I'm talking about a who ride. You know what I'm saying? A hoopty. So I know she ain't with me because of the money. You know what I'm saying? Because when we got together, I ain't have a dime. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like that. 1-bedroom apartment, barely making it. She got with me because she really rocked with me. You have so many people out here, man, that are living this facade here in America, and they don't even have to live it, unfortunately. And the thing is that when you start living to the max of all your money and every dollar that you bring in, I mean, that's just a stressful lifestyle. Why would you want to live like that?
Honestly, Americans are so friendly towards us here. I feel like every time I leave the house with my dog, we get kind of, idle little chit chat with people. And as soon as they find out we're from the UK, they're so enthusiastic about it. They're so curious. They're really eager to kind of start building a friendship, and they're so welcoming in a way that I just don't think would be the other way around. When an American is in the UK, I don't think we take too much of an interest by and large. And it's such an incredible compliment. I feel so incredibly flattered by the way that we've been received. And it just makes you think about the way that we're perhaps not necessarily hostile to people in the UK, but we're certainly not welcoming in a lot of cases, I'd say.
Yeah, I've heard that, and I haven't been to the UK, but I've been a multitude of other countries in the in Europe, and yeah, they're not fairly welcoming. They're just not, they're not.
I'm currently here in Miami, Florida, and it's made me realize how depressing the UK actually is. Here in America, in Miami, everyone is super happy, proud of their country, it's good weather, everyone's grinding, making content, trying to make money, become successful. There's no drive in the UK for that. Everyone's working Monday to Friday, going out on the weekends, spunking their wages, going to the pub. Whereas here, no one cares if you're making content, you're not getting judged, no one's hating on you behind your back. Everyone's actually just trying to help you. They want to do it with you, they want to get involved, they want to collaborate. Whereas in the UK, if you're doing what I'm doing right now, you're just gonna get judged for it. Whereas here, it's almost like you're living in like a film. Like everyone's just happy, trying to just make it work, become successful. The hustle culture here is so different. And how can you hate on this? Like, look, it's just sunny, everywhere's beautiful, the people are nice, they walk down the street, they compliment you, they ask how your day's been, they compliment your outfit, what you're wearing, what you look like. I can't remember the last time I even walked down the street in the UK and even spoke to a stranger, whereas here, I do it probably about 10 times a day.
Now, I will say this, the South is different. I grew up down south. Even the thugs will say what's up to you. You know what I'm saying? If you're respectful and friendly, people will say what's up. That's just what people do. I took one of my friends, down in Tennessee. This is, probably 2 or 3 years ago or so, maybe a little longer than that at this point. And we're riding in the neighborhood. And people are outside on their porch. People are cutting their grass, cutting their yard, and things of that nature. And they're waving, hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going? He was like, hey, bro, you know these people? I was like, nah, bro, it's the South. This is what people do. They speak. They say what's up. That's just people in the South. The South is friendly. The East Coast going north, not so much. Not to say that, you won't run across some friendly folks, but for the most part, people are a little more standoffish in the north in comparison to the South. I can't necessarily speak on the West Coast too tough. I've been out to the West Coast, but I just can't recall exactly how friendly the people on the West Coast are. But I know for sure the South, people will speak to you. Like I said, even the thugs will say what's up to you as long as you're respectful.
After 2 months in America, I am officially back in the UK. If you couldn't tell already by this absolutely miserable weather, this is what a typical
I know it's like a constant overcast over there. I couldn't live in a place like that. That's just ridiculous.
summer's day looks like over here. But yeah, what an insane trip. And what a beautiful country America is. I feel like a lot of people are put off from going to America at the moment because their views on politics or whatnot. We were warned beforehand, are you sure you want to go at the moment? Is this really a good time? But that didn't affect us at all. We went over there to see the natural beauty of the country, the landscapes, the national parks, and that is what we got. And you can't deny that America is one of the most beautiful countries in the world. And I'm so glad that we went over there. And not just that, but the interactions with you guys. Everyone we spoke to was so welcoming, so supportive, so keen to hear what we've been up to. We've gained over 10,000 followers since being in America. And all of the comments and messages and even emails I've been getting have been insane. I was not expecting this sort of reaction. I've had people saying, you can come stay with us, stay with our family, come have food if you're in this area. It's been unreal. Everyone over there is so nice.
Yeah, there's some pretty friendly people over here. I'm not sure exactly where this dude went, but if you're in the South, you're in the Midwest, there's some really good people, all throughout the South, all throughout the Midwest. The West Coast, I would assume, is probably hit or miss. The East Coast, there's some good people in the East Coast. There's good people all across America. Let me stop that. There's good people all across America. But I do think that the Midwest, the South, people are just a whole heck of a lot more friendly than they are in some other areas of the country. But I understand that people come over here because I've had conversations, with people from other nations, in the African continent and things of that nature. And they just, really appreciate the fact that, hey, we can come over here and get it. Nobody's going to stop you. Nobody's, trying to hold you back or anything along those lines. If you have an opportunity, you can take full advantage of it. If you got an idea, you can execute that idea. Yeah, you have people willing to work with you, so forth and so on. It's it's the freest place in the world. It really is. And I say this all the time. I mean, so many of us here in America, so many Americans, we we take for granted our nation. This is the one place that you can start off at the bottom 10% and work your way into the top 10%. And if you're really good, and you got a real service, you got something to provide to the world, you can work your way in the top 1% in a generation, in a lifetime. It can be done. Huge, man. Huge.
So I've just returned to the UK from a wonderful trip. I'm super lucky. I've been away. But it's that fear back to the reality of the UK that makes the return so bad because, you know, on arrival back, so I flew into Stansted and it was disorganised chaos. The minute literally as I stepped off the plane, you knew I was back in the UK. There were, you know how we love a bit of tape here to tape off areas. You know, you make your way through the slalom of tape everywhere. It was chaos getting off the plane. You know, the stairs didn't arrive. Nothing worked. Both the escalators were out. So everyone was having to go up the stairs. You know, you got old people struggling with luggage. And I just thought, wow, really back in the UK where nothing works. And then, you know, as you're coming through and then another plane kind of exits at the same time and you're all crushed into a corridor, all kind of walking along together to get to the passport control. Somehow coming off of a plane that I met was a guy who was so drunk. This guy could barely walk. He's stumbling, he's swearing, he's calling everyone expletives. This guy's just got off a plane. And I'm like, only in the UK could this happen. He's then sort of congregated with a load of school kids that have coming out, that have been away on a trip. He's then saying to the kids all these swear words. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? And then he was escorted off by someone, you know, no doubt. The funny thing was, we're all queuing, you know, to get through passport control. The guy who was drunk and is swearing was escorted round. You know, he got to the passport control first before the rest of us mugs that were queuing up because he was drunk and disorderly. No doubt he got escorted out, got given a taxi that they probably paid for to take him back to whatever hovel he'd come out of. You know, so it's things like that. And it's just the feeling of being trapped in the UK. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I'm imprisoned here because since Brexit, you know, we're only allowed to go to Europe for 90 days. We're no longer left with the option to move there. And my God, most of us want to get out of this absolute crap hole that we're all living in. And it's just that feeling of just, you know, being so trapped and controlled. It's just the most awful feeling. And you know, I've said in my other videos, I used to love the UK when I was younger. It was like the best place to grow up, you know, it was just wonderful and I loved going to London. Who the hell wants to go to London now? I watched a program about a girl who just literally was sitting with her bag in between her feet having a lunch, you know, young girl. And some complete lowlife came along and just literally, the way they do it, slid it out from beneath her legs and he was gone. And, you know, she was like, you can't, you know, your fear of being shot, stabbed, drug raped, needles in... Like, I've got a child, you know, when she goes out, I've got a fear of her being injected in the back and thrown into the boot of a car and driven off somewhere. I just want out. Like, I just want out of this place. And I know that most of us do. It's just... Yeah, it's horrible. And the return back from when you've been away and, you know, those places are, everyone's so much more polite. Everyone seems to care about each other more. They care about their environment. You know, they look after where they live. They you know, they're not dirty. Like a lot of people here just don't really give a shit. And I just feel like we live in amongst so many scumbags.
Tell us how you really feel. Seriously, tell us how you really feel. And that's the UK, ladies and gentlemen. People that live there, they want out. And when they do leave, they don't want to go back. Unfortunately, they have to go back. We were out and about last year. I was on vacay and we met a couple people. We met a couple from the UK and they were on holiday for, you know, like 3 or 4 weeks or so. And they ended up extending it because they didn't want to go back. And then they eventually just had to go back and they were just so sad. And they was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we got to go back to this. This is ridiculous. But let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what your thoughts are on this, man. Hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel. So many people, man, they just take for granted, you know, what we have over here, man. It's just unfortunate, man. More people, in my opinion, I believe, need to travel abroad just so they get a full understanding as to, you know, how good we actually have it over here, man. Seriously. Join us at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for ARP in the morning. If you'd like to go the extra mile and support the channel, join the ARP family, or you can buy your brother a coffee. That link's in the description box below. And as always, keep God first, stay prayed up. We'll catch up with you all next time. Peace.
Vibes so raw, can't hide the truth. Words so sharp.